Chapter 11, The Interior of a Heart, delves into Reverend Arthur Dimmesdale's state of mind and conscience as he grapples with his hidden guilt. Hawthorne likens Dimmesdale's inner turmoil to a sickness growing within him. He becomes terrified by his own thoughts, feels the weight of sin every moment, and experiences physical pain due to his mental agony. Dimmesdale knows that he deserves punishment, but being a minister, he chooses to punish himself internally rather than confessing his sin to the community. He inflicts physical harm upon himself, fasts, and holds long vigils, often keeping himself awake throughout the night, even on cold evenings. He mentions that sometimes during these vigils, he sees terrifying visions that heighten his guilt and distress. He remains conflicted between his piety and his deep guilt, which he fears may strip him of his dignity and reputation if revealed. Dimmesdale is further tormented by hypocritical glee of deliverance and the fact that his sermons have gained so much praise and popularity despite the sin he carries. His deliverance, thus, appears ironic and false, and his sin seems to have given him profound insights. He wishes he could confess his sins during his sermons, but his status as a preacher and his image amongst the people deter him. Moreover, the presence of Pearl and Hester in his congregation during his sermons also adds to his distress, since Pearl personifies his moral conflict and sin. He wonders at the bond he shares with Pearl, and days when Hester meets his eyes, his guilt intensifies. He even makes desperate attempts to confess his sins indirectly. He mentions his unworthiness as a minister in his sermons. He tries to degrade himself in public, but his words are always interpreted as humility by his adoring congregation. In trying to expose his sinfulness, he only increases his congregation's veneration for him. Ultimately, he is trapped in a vicious cycle. He wishes to unburden himself of his sin but is unable to do so, causing his mental and physical health to decline. Hawthorne lends insight into the destructive power of unconfessed sin. Native-born Americans consider Dimmesdale a saint, while foreigners think him a divine entity. Dimmesdale's magnified guilt and self-condemnation take a toll on him both mentally and physically, which is reflective of the puritanical belief that God punishes sinners in earthly life.